Welcome to Office Hours by XXX Church. I'm your host, Carl Thomas. I'm a pastor, certified neurohealth coach, and a guy who frankly struggled with a lot of stuff we talk about here for over 20 years until I found freedom about a decade ago. In today's episode, I'm going to be jumping in and answering this question. Does porn and masturbation cause delayed ejaculation? That's what I will be discussing today, so make sure you hang in there with me. Recognize that no questions are off the table, and I'm going to be as honest with my answers as I possibly can be, so don't get offended. Without any further delay, let's jump in. Okay, so this question came into our office hours page. Hey, Carl, listen to your take on premature ejaculation. That was a previous office hours, by the way. And whether it is a cause of porn use. I agree with you. However, a much more relevant question is, does porn use and masturbation cause delayed ejaculation? Based on my own personal experience, hearing from other guys, and surfing the web on the topic, it seems like it is a much more common issue. What are your thoughts? Okay, so I've done some research on this as well myself. The reality is there is little, if no, conclusive scientific evidence that pornography use may induce delayed ejaculation and or erectile dysfunction. However, that's not to say that it's not the case or there might be some connection. In fact, I would argue many in the scientific community would agree that the arousal levels that porn induces through extreme content is often not matched in real life intercourse or sex, which can ultimately lead to people becoming numb and desensitized to stimulation with their real sex lives or the stimulation they get from real sex. And it makes sense when you understand how the brain works and how dopamine works. Recognize that dopamine it's not bad. It's a neurochemical that we all need. In fact, when dopamine levels aren't high enough, it can lead to significant health problems such as mental illness. That said, the basal secretion rate of dopamine is in a healthy human brain, for simplicity's sake, is way down here. And when we look at porn, masturbate, and orgasm, etc., we flood our brains with dopamine, taking the levels way up here, right? And so the short-term effect is, over time, our brains can get used to those increased levels of dopamine and, in essence, reset the level of dopamine it needs to feel normal. This is a big part of why breaking free from porn early in the recovery process can be so challenging. This is also the reason why our desire for more intense sexual content and experiences may tend to grow over time, because what used to bring us pleasure, or our brain pleasure, has now become kind of ordinary, pushing us to seek even greater levels of pleasure. So in the bedroom, the thought is that if normal sex doesn't generate the same level of dopamine release as, say, hardcore porn does, it can be more difficult to orgasm or even maintain arousal. Again, the science isn't clear on this, but it makes sense, and it is reflective of a lot of what we hear from men, especially, who are addicted to porn and sex. So what's the answer? That's right. That's what we really need to know. If that's a situation you were dealing with and your delayed orgasm is not a biological issue, and that's kind of an important thing, okay? Because delayed orgasm can be biological, all right? Have nothing to do with a psychological thing. But if it is a psychological issue, then you need to know it can get better. Sex can become fulfilling again, but your brain will need to have some time away from porn and masturbation to, in essence, reset its baseline, right? Back down here, so normal sex is once again pleasurable. In the meantime, be patient with yourself or your partner, whichever it might apply to your situation. Continue to work on building intimacy with your spouse. And of course, continue your recovery efforts. Just try to enjoy sex and don't get overly concerned or preoccupied with whether or not you can orgasm in a set period of time. That sort of preoccupation can honestly make things even worse, because now you not only are struggling with the, lack of ability to find the same level of pleasure, but you're also going to be struggling with the anxiety of your performance issues, right? So you're kind of doubling down on the same problem, and that's not going to be good. So hope that answer sums up some things and helps answer your question. If you have a question for me that you want me to answer in an upcoming Office Hours episode, go to XXXchurch.com/office-hours. Submit your question there, and I will be happy to answer it. Have a great weekend, folks.